Hi, I'm Jason Paver, I'm Director of Sales at Pavers Shoes. In 2018 we established the Pavers Foundation. It's a charity designed to support the issues of community, of health and of education, both around the country and further afield. We introduced the foundation with a grant of nearly £2.5 million, which is partly from the company and partly from my grandma's estate. With that money, we allow people within the business to apply for grants for anything that's important to them relating to those three topics. We also give out money as a family, and we have a National Charity of the Year that's nominated by everybody within the business every 6 months. In order to continue growing the charity, what we have further decided is that over 2% of our net profits every year will be donated to further increase the amount of giving that we can do. Already in the past year, we've given away just shy of £500,000 to causes that range from local community centres through to Alzheimer's research. In October of last year, we held our first National Charity of the Year nomination process, and I'm delighted to say that we decided to award the money to Macmillan. And we actually have two people from Macmillan with us here today, which I would love to hand over, let you introduce yourselves, and then maybe ask you a few questions about what the grant's been used for.
So I'm Francine Tyler, and I'm the Area Fundraising Manager in Regional Fundraising for the Yorkshire area.
Great.
My name is Sarah. I'm a specialist Macmillan counsellor at York Hospital.
Well, lovely to meet you both.
Thank you.
Just a few questions to get started. Can you tell us a little bit more about the great work that Macmillan do, Francine?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first thing I've got to say, on behalf of Macmillan Cancer Support, thank you so much for inviting us along today, but for this incredible donation that we've received. It just makes such a difference to people affected by cancer. We've actually, at Macmillan Cancer Support, been going for over 100 years. So when people hear that devastating news, that they hear that words, you've got cancer, it is so a difficult challenge, such a difficult thing for them to hear. It's emotional, and we've worked with people and understand that each individual person needs to be dealt with as an individual, as a person, and not just as a patient. Yeah. And we just recognise times of needs to work with people to go through that cancer journey with them, just to make a difference.
Yeah, I know. It was. I think that I first came across the charity when my grandma Kathy, who set the business up, was diagnosed the first time with cancer, and I know Macmillan were a great help for her. But could you maybe describe a little bit of the work that Macmillan would do with just in general, but with the donation as well? Yeah,
absolutely. Everybody, when they first hear of Macmillan Cancer Support, they always think of a Macmillan nurse, but we are so much more. And one of the things that people often see is the information leaflets that you might see in the hospitals or the doctor's surgeries. Well, we put all together the information leaflets, make sure that they're up to date and current, and we have a website of which you can either get them from the doctor's surgery or go onto the website and order them online, and they can be sent through to you, or you can download them. We've also got an online support community on the website that you can access, as well as our support line, which is a number that anybody can go through to. It's there 7 days a week, 8 in the morning till 8 at night at current, and people can go for emotional support. Yeah. But when people hear they've got cancer, it's also that support around their jobs, their family, their emotions, and benefits. Yeah. What benefits can they access in paying their bills? Yeah. So we can support around a whole range of things.
No, it's great, it's fantastic, and from first-hand experience, I know some of the work you do is just incredible. So we're so happy to be associated with you guys, and I think it's just fantastic. Sarah, obviously being a nurse around the area around York, where obviously the company's founded and was still headquartered, it would be really interesting to hear a little bit about what your role entails.
Well, in my role as a counsellor, I support people emotionally. A cancer diagnosis is life-changing, and people need help to adjust to that. And it's very helpful for them to have some time and space to talk to somebody outside of their family and friends, to gain some sort of understanding about what's going on for them. And not only the person that's actually affected by the cancer, but also the family around them and their relatives, because it ripples out and it affects the whole family, and so I offer support to family members as well.
Right.
Yeah.
It's, I assume there is no such thing as a typical day, but what do you, is it, do you tend to have sort of one-on-one sessions, or what does a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, I tend to see people one-to-one. Sometimes I see people together with their partners if they want to come together. And we have sessions for a few weeks to help people adjust to what's going on, because they're coping with the medical side of things, but they're also coping with the emotional side of things. And people can feel quite lost sometimes with all of that.
Yeah.
And we also offer support to the nurses, the Macmillan nurses, who deal with people day in, day out. We facilitate what we call reflective practice, which is where nurses can come and think about the impact the work has on them so that they can do their best for their patients.
And is there something that, for the people around the person who's suffering from cancer, is there anything that you sort of teach them or advise them that they can perhaps offer as support on a day-to-day basis?
Well, often people want to solve problems and fix things, and you can't always do that, but you can listen. And what I would say is that if you can listen to the person who's affected by the cancer and not try and fix things for them all the time. It's natural to want to do things, but sometimes just listening is really important, and allowing people to talk about their fears and their worries, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. Some great advice, I'm sure. I imagine you also have a very, very difficult role, just helping people deal with the situation they're going through. How do you deal with that, and what makes your role so rewarding?
Yes, it is tough because you're meeting people at a very, very difficult time in their lives. But what I do know is that it really helps for them to have some space to talk through their fears and worries. And so it gives me a lot of satisfaction when I can see people adjusting and starting to move forward with their lives. And it's actually a privilege to work with people at one of the most challenging times of their lives, and I get a great deal out of that.
Yeah. Well, we're delighted to be able to support in a tiny little way. Francine, were Macmillan surprised to hear about sort of being our first sort of charity of the year?
Very much so. It was such a surprise because I think you just rang up and announced that the amount of money was going to be raised for us, and we were in a meeting and it came into us and there was a big group of us and like, oh my goodness. So yeah, absolutely, it's such a surprise. It's brilliant. So
donations like that, they tend to feel a bit more organised in advance.
Often, yes, we work with people and support people and it comes in slowly. So to get something like this, yeah, it was amazing, absolutely.
Good. I know when we told everyone in the business that Macmillan was the first charity, there was a lot of people who obviously have been personally touched by the charity and by the illness itself. Is there any way that you sort of look for, or they could get involved on a more personal level as well? Yeah, definitely. I mean, people get involved in lots of different ways with us, and we have a lot of people that volunteer for us at events, and people that just like to fundraise and do the maddest things, but raise something to give something back as well. So yeah, lots of ways, and there's the Macmillan website, and that they can get lots of information from. Fantastic. Well, that's great. Well, it's been great having you here. Thank you both so much for coming in, and obviously for the amazing work that you do on a daily basis. And for everyone else who's watching, just to say you can find out more about the foundation at paversfoundation.co.uk, and we very much hope to give you some more updates in the near future. Thanks very much.